What, are you choking? Go get Dad now. What, Dad?
He started choking, and the only thing I can think of is that, let's get in the car right now.
We just got right in the car and just zoomed as quick as we could to the hospital.
You know, we never really know what's gonna happen, but my kid's strength is just...
Gives us strength.
Gives us strength, yeah. Hey guys, we are going to kind of like back film something to tell you about something that happened the other day. Some of you guys might have already seen it, but it's really like hard to share stuff like this because you don't know what to share and what not to share. But you know, we've been sharing like all of Jensen's journey with you, and it's ups and downs, and he's been on a lot of ups, so it's kind of like makes you feel like you're good. But the other night, like, we had a pretty scary experience with him, and obviously we weren't filming, you know, you never, whatever. So we're kind of putting the puzzle pieces together, even in our own minds. It's not even just it's not for the video. It's like really just, you know, kind of after something like that happened to kind of look back and look at how everything played out. But it was a rough night.
Yeah, so I was, as you'll see, well, you don't see all of it, but I was downstairs. I'm working from home right now, and I was downstairs, and I was on the phone, and...
Well, before that, I was cooking, I had cooked dinner, and I just made like noodles, like an egg noodle with like a white chicken sauce to put over the noodles. And I was trying to get dinner early. We usually don't eat super early, but Bodie was gonna have soccer practice, and I was gonna have to go get the girls from dance, and I had a few minutes, so I was like, let's hurry and eat right now. And I had this rotisserie chicken that I had cut up and added to the sauce so that there would be more meat. And I was dishing up all the kids' food, and I dished up Jensen's in the little yellow bowl. And I remember I had, you know, call it whatever you want, but for me, I felt like I had the spirit prompt me, like, you need to cut up his food. And I was like, this is like little bits of chicken and noodles, and he's been eating so well. So I literally got the knife out and I cut up his food, and then we sat down at the table, and he sat on the bench where the kids usually sit, and I sat on the chair. And but the food was hot because I had literally just dished it up, and I think this is kind of why this happened. The food was hot, and literally on his like first bite of the food, he started choking, and the only thing I can think of is that thankfully I had cut it up
so it wasn't
worse. But I think because it was hot, you know, like when your food's hot, you just hurry and like swallow it so it's not like burning in your mouth. That's the only thing I can think of that really happened. But so then he kind of he has this look, and that's kind of, it's a really scary thing to see, because he's looking at you like, help me, I'm helpless. So he was sitting at the table. It was me and Brielle and Jensen sitting down at the moment, and he was standing up and just looking at me like, and kind of even if like he wasn't even talking, he was only making like whimpering.
He was covering his chest with his hand, and it's interesting to see in retrospect because we have a camera right up here in the kitchen, and we watched it later that night. And so Jensen stood up and he put his hands on his chest, and like Bree was saying, the look of absolute fear on his face, and from the camera you just see his backside, but he's got his hand up on his chest, and then Bree looks up and asks, "Are you choking?" And then that's when the panic just immediately sets in.
What, are you choking? Go get Dad now. What, Dad? There's water right there. Okay, calm down, stay calm. Dad!
So Bree grabs him, and even though we've been through this experience multiple times, and not just choking, but just the other things that Jensen was born with and some of his issues, even though we've been through these panic situations multiple times, it never makes it any easier.
No.
And so you'll see we've debated whether or not to even put this on the channel or the video to show, because you're automatically going to get people saying, oh, this is how I would have done it. There you go, good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, no matter how many times you've been in a situation, you never know what the right thing to do is, and we weren't sure, like, do we call 911? Do we?
Well, part of it because it wasn't a full blockage.
Yeah, so
yet.
it was like, do we? And I didn't want to do the Heimlich or anything because I'm like, what if I move it and it makes it worse? Like you're just like, it's not this typical
Heimlich's
choking.
not a Heimlich, and it's not a typical choking. And Heimlich's not this proven like
so it's just like
certain way of
where
doing
he
things.
has a little bit of air right now. Like I don't want to do anything to ruin that. So the decision that we kind of came to, which we didn't even necessarily talk about, we just like we're like, let's get in the car right now.
Okay. Turn off the stove. We're gonna go to the doctor right now, okay? Just relax.
And I was just trying my hardest to keep Jensen calm because I felt like if he started to cry or anything, that it would affect what was stuck in the food that was stuck in his throat. So I thought if I sit him up on my lap and I don't lay him down, then maybe like gravity will pull it down, and I just gotta keep him. I remember thinking like I just have to keep him conscious, like don't let him pass out, because he had a very little breathing. It was like
yeah.
It was a wheeze, but I was like, he's just got to stay relaxed. He's just got to stay relaxed. So,
and we didn't want to wait for an ambulance to get here and then transport him to the hospital. We just got right in the car and just zoomed as quick as we could to the hospital. Luckily, it's very close to us.
Yeah. So then we got to the hospital, and that was like a learning experience for us too, because now if we're in this situation again, and it's hard because when you're in an emergency situation, obviously you haven't been in that situation again, but you do. So you don't know what to do. Nobody knows what they're going to do or what they should, everything's hindsight. But if that did happen again, I would call the hospital on the way.
We're coming.
And prepare them, and kind of so that they know his medical history, because we show up and I'm trying my hardest not to panic. So I'm not acting in the hospital like, get him in right now, So they're just like, okay, well, you sign this iPad, go take a seat. They'll be out with you in a minute. And I'm thinking, I just kept saying to them, no, like he's choking right now.
It honestly felt like we were at like a dentist office signing in for something, just taking their precious
But it wasn't their fault. It's like they didn't, because we were acting fairly calm, and when
the insides of us were ready to just burst.
Because we were just like, just stay calm, because we didn't want Jensen to be upset. So they took us back quickly. They took us back probably not even 1 minute.
Because you kept pushing. You're like, well, we're not going to go sit down. How long is it? We need somebody right now.
Yeah. So they took us back and they walked us back to the hospital room. And
to the
ER room, like back where they were helping us, and they started asking us some questions like, what's going on, what's he here for, trying to check us in. And maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes in the room when all the nurses were in there, it completely started blocking his entire airway, and he was not breathing.
Luckily, we were inside, and that was the whole point of not wanting to wait necessarily for an ambulance. Is by the time he did have full blockage, we were inside of the hospital.
We were at the hospital, and it was hard, and I started panicking. I was like, and I just looked at the doctors and I said, like, you have to help him, because I was so scared. But then he started throwing up.
Yeah, it dislodged enough that what they're saying is that it gagged him the way that it was moving and blocked his trachea, and then he gagged and he threw up a small piece.
A tiny piece. Just a little bit. And we were confused. We said to the doctor, like, could that have been everything? And he just said, he could have aspirated some, or it could have dislodged the other portion enough that it went down. Like, we just need to monitor him now because we don't really know, is kind of what they were saying. They're like, we'll get some x-rays, we'll see what we can figure out. So they do a chest x-ray, and he's so cute. He was so brave, and he's just so, and after this point, he's happy as a clam. And this is kind of where we start filming, when we know that he's safe. So this is kind of where the video picks up.
Yeah, we didn't start until after he had thrown up that first time.
Yeah. So the hard thing about it is that it's not just scary because of that day. It's scary because, like, it brings back a lot of really hard memories and a lot of really scary experiences. And like, when you feel like you're losing your child, like now when you're in a situation that's kind of similar, you go right back to that 10. It's not like you start at 1 and you work your way up. Like, you go right to those intense feelings and those intense fears. And we were right back there. It's just because how quickly things can become serious, and I would just say, So it really opens up some deep wounds, and it makes it hard. But obviously, and thankfully, luckily, because this is our little superhero boy, he was okay. Everything ended up okay.
And it was so cute because after he did throw up, it was as if he was trying to clear the air, as if he was trying to tell everybody everything's okay, because he was so happy and he was just so smiling, and he was still having some breathing issues.
Yes, he still was struggling. And this was something that Derek and I were kind of like, he's fine, Bree, he's fine. And I kept saying, like, his voice sounds funny, and he keeps talking and going like,
yeah,
like talk and take a deep
still
breath.
wheezing.
And he's just like, well, maybe he's just like working it out. And so I was still like,
because the first time that he choked after we got the cheese and everything out of his trachea, and he was still wheezing for a long time.
Yeah, he still struggled for a while.
It took some time to recover.
Well, anyway, the kids are wanting us, so we're just going to leave it at that. Yeah, so you'll see the rest of the footage. The sweetest thing about it, though, is that after we got home, we left Brielle and Bodie at home.
Yeah.
And we called a neighbor right away, and they came and picked him up, and the little girls were at dance. But
Now, JJ is a superhero. No, just think out about it. He's a superhero. He's indestructible. Brielle, it's okay. It's not okay. Your brother is breathing. He's breathing.
so we could see like Bodie and Brielle kind of comforting each other and supporting each other. And we got home talking to Bodie, and I just was like, you know, talking to the kids about their feelings and how they were processing everything. And Bodie just said, you know what, Mom, I knew he was going to be okay. He said, he's a superhero. I knew he would be okay. And that was just so sweet. And I mean, we never really know what's going to happen, but my kid's strength is just
Gives us strength.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what, if they can be okay, we can be okay too. So
We're okay.
We'll share the rest of the videos with you guys. Thank you for supporting our family, and
We appreciate and love you.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
How old are you?
It does look like a kid.
It goes this way.
It's like a backwards cape, huh?
Yes. And it has numbers with 5 numbers. You know, it's 5 numbers.
You all right, bud? He's okay now.
Now he's acting silly.
No pal. Good job, bud.
Is it working?
Checking the pulse with your balloon hand. Oh, he's such a happy kid, even after that.
Well,
Balloon!
Derek said this earlier, and it's like so true. He's literally acting like relieved.
Yeah.
Like it's like you can tell he's like overly happy because he's just like so. It's such a relief.
It's kind of his way of saying, I'm okay. It's okay, guys. He's de-escalating the situation. We sure love him.
Anger! Balloon! You can play with the
What
water.
does that taste like, Jay?
Oh, don't spill it. What did you get to eat? What'd they give you?
A popsicle.
Yeah.
Why did they give you a popsicle?
Because I was good.
Or because you were good, and because they want to just make sure that you can swallow just fine. And it looks like no issues. They
Well,
have to
I
take
mean,
things one step at a time, right?
Licking a popsicle is basically the
Yeah.
same as like swallowing
Yeah.
your spit.
They got to start with one thing, I guess.
So we think that he still had that piece in his esophagus that whole time. And then finally, they gave him a popsicle to try to get him to eat. and I think just nothing could go down. So finally, it was irritating his throat enough that he just gagged it up.
All of a sudden, just randomly, all of a sudden, he just started gagging, and we're both like, "Are you okay?" And he just started throwing up on the ground.
A lot. Too.
It was a lot of throw up and a big piece of chicken that. Let me hear you breathe. I want to hear you breathe, okay? That's better. That's good. Did you get some more pictures done, bud? Are you thinking? He's thinking. He's feeling a lot better now, huh?
Oh, I wasn't thinking.
Oh, okay.
What do they take pictures of? What's it called?
I don't know.
Do you remember the word?
Kiss.
What is it?
Esophagus.
Esophagus.
They took a picture of your esophagus. It's called an esophagram, right?
No, esophagus.
Yeah, they did an esophagram,
Mom,
and it actually
why did you
looked
do
really
that?
good. So now basically he's cleared to go home, and we'll just follow up with his surgeon tomorrow or sometime. I don't really know, but yeah. So we've been here now for 4 hours. We're not going to complain because everything went good.
Yep. So the doctor came back and said that everything actually looked really good as far as the esophagram is concerned. They're going to draft up the paperwork, and we are going to head home. It's almost 9:30. It's bedtime. So let's get checked out of the hospital. We're all done, Jay. Thank you guys for watching it.
Gigi, can I get a hug? I'm next. I'm next.
They're all getting their turns. Everybody just hug on.
No, you gotta fit in everything. Yeah. Gigi, you got stickers. Fit it game. Where is the hole? Where's the hole?
Still breathing, bud. Blow that up.
I love you so much. Can you blow it up?
He's a little distracted by his balloon.
Here, I'll blow it up. No! Make it fly! It's ready!
You're indestructible and we're unbeatable. Ready? 3, 2, 1, blast off!